Hi guys, and welcome to Escape We Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be doing a quick overview of this new Watchdives WD1969 Retro Snowflake. Sadly, it's not as new as I would want it to be, but it is a different version, something I haven't reviewed on this channel. I'm calling this an overview simply because this is the same exact watch as the Watchdives WD1680, which is right up here. I'll be leaving the link up here. So go check that out if you want to see pretty much everything about that. This one here, it's just a new crystal, a new dial, new hands, new bezel insert. Everything else is the same. So if you want to see dimensions and all that stuff and kind of see how it wears a little bit, and my thoughts on the bracelet and the clasp and all that stuff, go to there. I'm going to be covering just the changes in this one. So I say we get right into it. I'm going to make this nice and short and sweet. And yeah, we'll get right into it. But before we do, doing a quick wrist check, wearing the Sugas top chronometer. Absolutely loving this watch still. Go check out the review for that one right up here. All right, so let's get to the first change. The first change is the crystal. First things first, we will test it for sapphire. You can see it is positive for sapphire. And it's a very nice crystal. It's a double dome sapphire crystal. Previously, they had just a flat crystal with a cyclops, so this is a little bit of a change, and I think it looks really good. They did a decent job with it. It has blue anti-reflective coating on it. Obviously, it's kind of showing up a lot of reflections under my studio lights, but yeah, in real life and in everyday use, it's fine. I think it does a pretty good job of keeping the dial nice and clean. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, and you can see there is the side profile there, so it does have a pretty good curvature to it. It really follows the slope of the bezel nicely. I think they did a really good job with it. I think the side profile on this thing is actually really nice now. Yeah, it just kind of adds a little bit of character to it. I think it looks pretty good. So the next big change that you'll probably notice right away is the bezel insert. So the bezel itself is the same, that is unchanged, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But the bezel insert itself has a really nice loomed pip at the 12 o'clock position. It does protrude, as you can see there, so I guess it could get knocked off. But the bezel itself is a matte ceramic bezel. You can see it will get scuffed up a little bit, as you can see there at the kind of 12 o'clock position there. But I think it looks really good. It's kind of that old vintage ghosted look. It looks really, really good. It's got that chalky blue color with gray numbers. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Those numbers, they are not sunken in or anything like that. It looks like they're printed right on top. So it's a really cool. I actually thought this was aluminum, but they list it as ceramic, so I'm just going to call it ceramic. I have no way of testing that really. But yeah, I think it looks really, really cool, and you can see there it does get marked up a little bit. So this thing should age pretty cool in my opinion. I actually really like the bezel insert on this thing. I think it looks excellent. The next big change is the dial and the hands, obviously. They did a really nice job with this. So it is a fully printed dial here. You have your printed minute track around the outside in white. You have your Watchdives and automatic 1,000 feet, 300 meters in white as well. Everything else is that faux patina. I think the color match during the daytime is actually pretty good on these things. Sometimes you get them and they're hit and miss, but this one looks really good. You've got your triangle at 12 o'clock and then squares and rectangles at all the other hour markers. I think everything is printed very nice and clean. The dial is clean. The handset they used is clean. I don't really see any fluff or anything like that on the dial. So yeah, I think the assembly facilities are clean enough. And yeah, everything looks really nice. Good size handset as well. I'm overall pretty satisfied with the new dial on this thing. I think it matches the bezel color very nicely. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. They did a good job with it. I like it. I like it a lot. And yeah, I think the Lume is actually pretty good. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot here, and you can see it against a couple other watches kind of in the same price range and category as this one. And it definitely holds its own. It's a very good Lume. I've got no complaints about this thing. I was a little worried about it being printed and faux patina, but they added enough Lume on this thing where it's visible all night long, and I've got no problems with it. So there you go, guys. That is the three major changes that they've made on this watch. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, you can get this in a bunch of different setups now. They have a bunch of different bezel options, a bunch of different dials and movement options. So go pick and choose which one you like the best. I think they're all using the same exact case and bracelet and movement, so I think you'll be happy with them. So just as a quick overview, in case you didn't want to watch that full review, the case on this thing is pretty nice. It's kind of that typical 40 by 48 20 millimeter lug width. This one I believe is 14 millimeters thick, but that's just because of that domed sapphire crystal. 14 and a half ish. You know, it wears just like you would expect it to wear. Everything functions as it should. The bezel action on it is pretty good. The alignment on it is spot on. Unless you listen to the bezel, it is a 120 click unidirectional bezel, and there's very little to any back play on this thing. It's a good bezel. It doesn't really sound very premium, I'll say that, but I think it's notchy enough. It's got a perfect amount of resistance, good grip on it as well. And yeah, I think it's a good bezel. The movement in this one is absolutely running spot on. I wanted to throw it on the time grapher just to kind of reference it. This one's running 0 seconds per day in the dial up position with a 0.2 millisecond beat error. So really good beat error, really good accuracy. I've got no complaints with that. The bracelet on these things. So the bracelet seems to be unchanged. It is a 20 millimeter bracelet, and it tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp. You can see here, there's a lot of flex in this bracelet, probably too much flex in this bracelet. That first link is very sloppy. It does rattle on the wrist. You know, I think the finishing is fine for it. It does have push pins for adjusting. I removed 4 links for my 7.5 inch wrist, and there's, looks like another 4 links plus a bunch of micro adjusts here. So you're going to have no problem getting this thing to fit. And link fitment seems fine, nice and solid in there. Yeah, they are protruding male end links there, so take that into consideration. The clasp on this, again, is unchanged. It's your Watchdives clasp, just a 2-button release here, fully milled on the inside. Really nice tight tolerances here, so no complaints with the clasp on this thing, and again, plenty of micro adjusts. So I guess the big drawback to this watch is the bracelet. You know, it's got a lot of slop in it, and it does rattle around more than a typical 3-link bracelet should rattle around. I don't have one on me here. Yes, I do. So this is what a good 3-link bracelet looks like. There's not a whole lot of flex in this thing, right? And then you put it up side by side with this one here, you got a lot of flex in it. So yeah, that's just kind of what you expect at this price range. It is it's a serviceable bracelet. It's fine. It's just not going to blow you away. So yeah, go see the full review up here. Other than the changes that I mentioned earlier, it's the same watch. And I think they're just just cranking out these different designs because it's such a popular design. People are going to buy this thing, and I think people have been buying it. And I can definitely see why for $100, it's an excellent value. So yeah, I think that's it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.